2 years ago. Terrifying. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Everton Live Daily. It is Thursday, March the 21st. There isn't any Premier League games. I had originally thought we would discuss football today. And we were going to discuss Everton's player of the season so far. But there's been more stuff going on today. Everton's fan advisory board has demanded the Premier League suspend all PSR commissions, hearings, given, it claims, a lack of any transparent process or framework addressing PSR breaches and subsequent sanctions in a consistent and firm manner. This is what Henry Winter has written. An application of potential second sanction covering a time period for which supporters in the club have already been penalised also calls on Parliament to ensure the new independent regulator has full oversight and powers. I'll do a little bit on what Dave Kelly, who is the chair of the Fan Advisory Board, said in a minute. But this kind of follows on. It follows on from what the MPs wrote yesterday. They wrote a letter, didn't they? Just seeing if I can get that. And they were demanding it's all suspended. They were demanding they're removed. The point deductions are removed. Yeah. So this is what it was. Three Nottingham MPs, wasn't it, wrote yesterday to the Secretary of State, saying we write to highlight our concerns regarding the Premier League Commission's determination of sanctions and perceived inconsistencies between smaller and larger clubs. Nottingham Forest has received a 4-point deduction for breaching the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. This follows Everton FC's 10-point deduction, reduced to 6 points upon appeal. Meanwhile, Manchester City faces 115 charges of alleged breaches of different rules across 9 years, but its case remains unheard and unresolved. Sanctions and the process by which they are determined must be fair and seen to be fair. Football is an important part of our culture. It matters to fans and to communities across the country, fostering a sense of local pride and contributing to local economies. In order to safeguard the integrity of the game and the Premier League and to ensure transparency and accountability to fans, we believe that it is urgent to immediately legislate for an independent regulator tasked with enforcing compliance with financial regulation and establishing new guardrails for corporate governance, club ownership, fan engagement and competition regulation. We therefore welcome the publication of the Football Governance Bill, which seeks to establish such a body. This is long, I apologise, I didn't mean to read it all, but it kind of does need reading. We ask your department to outline the envisaged timeline for implementing the regulator and to clarify what it means for clubs such as Nottingham Forest, which are currently facing the consequences of the Premier League Commission's ruling. We ask that you urge the Commission to suspend all proceedings and sanctions until the regulator is in force. And it's signed by the 3 Nottingham MPs. Are you a little bit surprised that the FAB have asked for this now, or do you think it dovetails with what the MPs have done yesterday? And for you, is this simply a response because we found out Nottingham Forest's fate earlier in the week?
I suppose because there's a second body of evidence that we can compare our own commission to now, we can see that the process is actually flawed. We only had one example beforehand, and we didn't know. Obviously, we only had one, so we didn't know the full context of it. Now having another one, we can see that they don't really tally up with each other, and I think that gives everybody the ability to go forward and say this needs to be looked at and scrapped, because you've got 2 commissions that are looking at the same thing but different. I mean, experts keep on telling us that they're different cases. They're not different cases. They're the same case. They'll have different things within them, of course they will, because they've been promoted and we've been in the league for 3 years. But the fundamentals are that the whole thing isn't fit for purpose, because it doesn't have tariffs, because it doesn't have consistency, I think, because things will be looked at that were looked at Everton and they won't be looked at Nottingham Forest and vice versa. And I think it's really important, and it'd be nice to hear, what would be the next good step would be if Forest's fan trust, I think they have a fan trust rather, will come out and issue something and almost push both football clubs into issuing a statement on this, saying we approve, I don't know if that's the right word, or we back what our fan boards are saying.
Okay.
Rather than saying we call for.
Yeah. We're in support of
we
what
support
they're asking.
our FAB, Fan Advisory Board. I'm not in Forest come out and say we support our fans' trust and do it like that.
Yeah.
And just put a little bit of pressure on the people ahead of Everton's second one, which is due to start next week.
Dave Kelly, who is the chair of Everton's Fan Advisory Board, said it looks like the Premier League is literally making this up as they go along.
They are.
He said, whilst we've always been clear that our club has had a case to answer, and we'll come back onto that in a minute, we're now in the bizarre situation where some clubs, but not all, have been brought before a commission, still unclear about what the rules of the game are when it comes to sanctions, with the groups of commissioners themselves having no clear guidelines to work by. We've now had 3 hearings, overseen by 3 different commissions, applying 3 different approaches and reaching 3 different conclusions. In last week, we've also seen the Premier League confirm that it will be looking to change the PSR rules as early as this summer. The rhetoric we hear today, or the rhetoric rather, that we hear today, is that football is nothing without fans. But how does this chaotic approach to regulation inspire confidence for supporters, especially when even the Premier League recognises its own policies aren't fit for purpose? That is just obviously Henry Winters just took a couple of bits of that. The letter is I won't read Everton's one. It's very extensive. It's there if you want to read. I think it's on our Twitter as well if you want to read it, as well as being on the FAB's one. I think that this has to be clear because, listen, seeing it, we have the odd comments on ours. There's been one this morning. I wasn't very happy that Neb did their copyright claimed something on Twitter and said, you cheat and you'll go down where you deserve. You cheats. There was about 4 times cheats. I've seen Forest, people saying to Forest, just cheat, shouldn't be allowed. That's whatever. And yet, you're always going to get that with tribalism, aren't you? You're always going to get people who they don't want to know all the information. Even, we won't name him today, but even, the fella who likes to go on radio and give his opinion about how terrible Everton are. It's still following a tagline that they've just spent crazy money. I had a slight discussion with a Nottingham Forest fan who's also a lawyer last night, just because for some reason I was copied into one of that fella's tweets, and the bit I left, I didn't follow it. I'd just gone on because someone had sent me a message and needed to speak to me. And I seen it in my thing, and the line that made me respond was, all Everton fans are these idiots, and all that. And it's like, whoa, mate. We have done a lot of reading and research, and that we know.
We've become experts.
Exactly. We know exactly what we are speaking about here. But this person has peddled the line that Everton have just spent crazy money. But he's also been put out by a lot of people that we are, not us, Evertonians per se, are saying things like, we haven't done anything wrong. And I said this on the overlap the other week. If this is and I said this to the Nottingham Forest, the lawyer fella last night who said he's furious with his owner. If we are having a discussion about whether Everton have been run poorly in this period, we aren't going to say a word because we will agree. If that's your if your complaints against Everton, if you like, is you've been run terribly, then we're there with you, aren't we? I'm not going to sit here and go, no, we haven't. Everton were run really well by the previous board and Mashiri, because quite clearly we haven't been, because we're where we are. If we'd been run really well, we wouldn't have failed PSR. So if that is the conversation, I think I don't speak for Evertonians, but my just thinking about the Evertonians I do speak to, most people would agree with that, I think, and go, Everton have been run really poorly. Nottingham Forest, I imagine a lot of their fans will say, we probably should have done things a bit differently. But that doesn't mean the rules are right.
Everyone's got a right to a fair trial, haven't they? Or a fair commission. Everyone's, whether.
But the rules aren't right in the first place.
No, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we can. People still go on trial that have done things wrong, but you have to put them on trial, or at least have a verdict which is in line with what they've done. You wouldn't just. We've said this loads of times. It's the speed. Like, you get caught for speed and you get 3 points. You don't get a year in prison. For going 35
or sent down for 25 years for murder because you've been speeding.
You have to. There's an appropriate outcome, and what we're all saying to this is we don't know what the appropriate outcome is, because in the 2 different ones so far, or the 3 because of the appeal, it's been very, very different. And all these experts, and Stefan, who is and other so-called experts who just peddle the same thing again, which is you broke the rules. It's your own fault. You take the consequences. No one knows you don't know what you're talking about. I do, and it's like, why do you think you know everything when we have obviously in the last 4 or 5 months have had to get very much up to speed with this. And there's a lot of people out there that you'll listen to, a lot of other people listen to, whether it's the Esk, whether it's John Blaine, whether it's Kieran Maguire, are all basically saying the same things. Everton know they broke rules, but it's to what extent sometimes can differ depending on their allegiances or whatever. But I don't think anyone is really saying Everton have gone absolutely over the top, because that figure is set in stone. That 19.6 million or whatever it is there. We all know it. We know that's the number.
Yeah.
We know that's the number, and we know the things that we weren't allowed to have back, and we know what we went in with, and it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
And the thing for me as well is, it's the thing, and I said this to the Forest, the Forest man, Matt, I think his name was, last night. Just brief. I said the thing why you will get people who are ultra defensive now from an Evertonian standpoint, because we've had to listen for months to so-called journalists. Well, somehow they're named as journalists, writing nonsense like it's because Everton have spent 700 million, things like that. It's like, when you actually do the sums, Everton's net spend is very small, really. Well, relatively small. Because Everton might have spent during Mashiri's reign 720 million in 8 years. Chelsea just spent that in a year, by the way. They've also recouped 600 odd million or something. So that is really, that's kind of like where I look at sport and stuff. Like for Forest, I've said that, I've been consistent what I've said with Nottingham Forest. I didn't want to see them given a points deduction because I don't agree with them. What they've tried to do, and people have kicked back on this as well. So you're just saying Forest should be allowed to do what they want then because they've been promoted. No. But what I'm saying with where Forest have tried to give themselves a leg up to stay up. They've gambled, haven't they? They've gambled because they're trying to get enough quality into their squad to keep them up. So they took a bit of a gamble. But even in that, Forest and Everton's cases are slightly different. In a worse way, though, because Forest, it's literally in black and white that the reason why they have failed is just simply because they've spent too much money on players. Everton is slightly different because even if you just put the numbers down, the players they brought in, the players they sold, Everton are one of 3 teams who've got a positive player trading. So I don't mind someone saying you've breached the thing, so get on with it. I get that. I don't have an issue with that because we've said it. But the thing that that winds me up is this narrative that's gone out there that it's simply because we just spend loads of money on players and buy when wages have gone down, been trending downward since 2020. Amortisation costs have gone down since 2020. Player numbers in our squad have gone down in the last 3 years. In the last year, I think there was Everton and Brighton were the only 2 teams who made positive where the profit was. Every other 18 other teams were under. Oh no, Everton and Luton. I think 18 other teams were under it. That failed, not failed, but were minus. So there's a lot of things, and if people come out and just went, look, yes, there was a war. Yes, there was COVID, and yet Everton are building a stadium, but they still had to get this number under this, and they've gone over it. So it doesn't matter really what the reason is they've gone under. I would go. I can't disagree with that because those numbers are there. I can argue whether I think a stadium should count because it's an infrastructure thing. I could argue that and say, well, I don't agree with that being included. That's fine. But the thing what really winds me up is this thing that you cheated or, you know, it's simply because you've bought too many players. I sit at Goodison Park every other week and see the quality that's on display that has had to be chopped away in the last 3 or 4 years to what we were seeing.
Yeah, I'm a lot more sympathetic to Nottingham Forest from what I've read and heard in the last few days. A lot more. I think, again, it's very easy from the outside to just be judgmental and say, well, you just spent all that money, you bought 46 players and all that. I think I was a bit like that at first, but when I started listening to the arguments, it did again, you know, reframe it for me and how unfair the whole system is against any team that's not really in Europe. It's complete.
It's weighted the opposite way.
So, and it's actually a lot harder if you're a team who's coming up. And again, I think that's getting out of my own way of that tribalism, going, well, they deserve the book thrown at them because we have. And it's just like, well, we need to sort this out. And I think, again, that's what, again, it might be, you know, it might be a little bit, you know, after the horse was bolted kind of situation. Because a lot of people, I think, since Forrester got there, are waking up to it, of like how poor these rules are and how restrictive they are for anybody coming into the league or have had a tough time adjusting to COVID or had other things, obviously Ukraine for us as well. Anything that's just thrown in the way. Football clubs very much, who are not in those European positions, are very much working handsome out. I mean, it's a very, very different scale. But most of them have to take out loans, payday loans, to give them the money for the transfers till the TV money comes in. And
spot on.
And that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So if you have to bring loads of players in at once, then your loan can come from your owner because he's a very wealthy man, and he's also a very ambitious man. Forest, I mean, that is the difference between the two clubs. Forest have actually got an owner who's got money and did want to dip his hand in his pocket.
We did, though.
No, I know. I'm saying
we were curtailed from it. And maybe we should have just, instead of us trying to play close to the line with Mashiri in 18, 19, 20, maybe he should have just gone, no, we're going to buy what we need to because us we're not wanting to spend all sorts.
And this guy is clearly very angry now because he feels like and what's good about this fella actually, and this is the difference between Mashiri and this fella is who owns Forest, is this fella will go chasing them. He'll probably take these to bloody... take them to court and say, this is restrictive. We want to get back to where we both feel like we are, who we are. Not a Forest, twice European Cup winners. Well, you know, he'll go, this is stopping, because he has got the bottle where, sadly, Mashiri, for whatever reason,
stepped away.
Just didn't have. No, I'm saying, but at the time, didn't have the bottle. Didn't have the bottle. Maybe he was like, I don't really want them to look behind the curtain. Maybe. But this fella's like, no, I'm gonna. And that statement of the day was a good indication of that, saying, you know, these rules are fundamentally wrong. But I'd definitely call for both football clubs today. I think the FAB should be working with Nottingham Forest's fan trust, and both clubs, whether they're allowed to or how far they're allowed to go, should certainly be backing the statements put out by by their fans and possibly the MPs. What's the worst that can happen? The Premier League will call you in and give you a slap on the wrist. So what? We're talking about two clubs that are on the precipice, you know, and really are trying to do everything to survive. You know, it's about time you know. You can't just wheel out an AI CEO and put in front of a camera and read a statement. You've got to get... I think it's about time our football club got a little bit angry and stopped thinking we'll do that for them. Yeah. Because that seems to be the message. Fans will do this for us. The fans will be the face of it. No, how about you come out and start getting angry about this and start writing statements which show... And the first thing I would have done is Everton on Mondays wrote a statement going, what is this? What is this? How can this be? But no, once again, we've took it lying down because that's what it seems our football club does.
Yeah.
So I would have liked a lot angry response from Everton Football Club.
Absolutely. Yeah, Gavin Crozier on the super chat. Thank you, Gavin. Says, thanks for helping us get through this. Only place to get actual research news. Love the show. Thank you, Gavin, for that. We do our best. Listen, we'd love to
Don't ask us what gets us through it.
No. I'd love to be sat here talking about footy, mate. Ian Barron, you're always welcome as a Darlington fan. It doesn't matter, mate. Welcome everybody here. As long as people are respectful, everyone is welcome here.
And subscribes.
And
clicks the like button.
Yeah, I mean, they're easy. They're easy win. Just click the like button and subscribe while you're here. Ratboy81 says, we the supporters haven't done anything wrong, Baz, but we're the ones taking. Yeah. You're absolutely right, mate. This is the thing, right? And this is where... This isn't against Nottingham Forest, by the way. I've said this all along. So, anyone... I haven't said any different. My only thing where I think they've been treated... there's a few instances where they've been treated differently to us, which I don't think is correct either. It's not Nottingham Forest's fault. No. It's just the way it's fell. One, we had to play for 3 months with a minus 10 point deduction, which affects fans' mindset and it affects the players' mindset. Right? So that's a joke because Forest didn't get any points taken off them until they'd had their commission. Now, I know ours was reduced on appeal, but for me, moving forward, if they are going to do this thing, the points shouldn't be removed until the outcome of the appeal.
Absolutely.
If you appeal. So Forest would have come out of that commission the other day and they would have decided whether to appeal or not. If they'd said we're appealing, then they should still have 25 points, is it what they've got, whatever, or what they'd have had. They should have them 25 points until the appeal. And if the appeal is upheld, as in, no, you're getting 4, mate, end of, then it's taken. Because I think Everton may not have gone, I don't know, and you can never say this because it's the same argument with, we won 4 on the run when we got them deducted last time. That, to me, bears no reason. No, doesn't make any difference. The same as, with that. But we had to play for 3 months without it. Secondly, in that Forest case, they said it's the reason for them taking points off the original 6 was unique circumstances of them being promoted. Well, that's not unique because teams get promoted every year. But okay, but that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. That's nothing against Forest. But is building a stadium once every 130, 40
feels
years,
quite unique, doesn't it?
That to me feels quite unique. While there's a war affecting your income, that feels a little bit unique as well. And the global pandemic feels a little bit unique. Now, take COVID out of it because every club was affected, fine. You could even take the war out of it if you wanted to, but that was quite a big thing. See, what Everton done wrong, and this is why they are facing this charge this year, is Everton cut ties immediately with USM, and they probably shouldn't have done in hindsight for the way this has fallen. I understand why they did, and from a PR thing, they were correct to do so.
Got a Ukrainian player playing for us as well.
No, I know, and that's why we're in. But I mean, from a financial aspect, that's why it's kicked back and caused us issues. Yeah. But hey ho, even with that, but building a stadium seems pretty unique to me. Yeah. It doesn't seem like something you're going to be doing every 3 years to get round PSR. So they're the indiscrepancies that I feel I'm not happy with the way the Forest case was dealt with. If they'd have had it hanging over them, these points for a few months, then I'd have gone, well, that's what they're doing. It's not right. I wouldn't have agreed with it. But that's why I feel a little bit aggrieved with that. But it comes back to, the biggest thing it comes back to, for me, is that the rules are not fit for purpose. So we're going to get a situation with Everton going to another commission next week. And Everton are going to be seen by another 3 people. Yeah. And they could come up with a totally different thing again. And then you would have had 4 cases, 4 hearings, all with totally different...
Totally 3 of them would have had Everton in them. And Everton might be sitting there going, we've been through this before. What don't you know? What don't you get?
That's it. It should really be an hour's hearing. You've got all the info and there's the outcome. There you go. What are you giving us? So I just find it absolutely mad. But I think you're right. I think there's an opportunity for Everton and Nottingham Forest now to come together and go on a unified thing. This isn't fit for purpose. Back each other.
Everton come out today, put a very simple statement out saying, we back what our fan advisory board have put out today.
Yeah.
And we urge any right-minded fan of other clubs to read it and back it. And that's it. I'm just going to check Twitter now. Let's just check. No. See, Everton, retweet it. If anyone's from Everton, retweet that FAB. Retweet it on your socials.
I don't know. See, what I find mad is, right, is that are Everton trying to do this thing where they're terrified of doing anything because they think it's going to impact them next week.
It's not going to impact them, though, is it? Because surely it can't impact them. What happens in the commission is based on facts, based on what has happened.
It should be. What
has happened to Everton over a 3-year cycle, 2 of them that we've already have. Putting pressure on, not even putting pressure, just putting some facts out there. And we back our fans. That's all you're saying. We back our fans. And we know for a fact that as a fan base, this is on us. We know that. The football club expects the fan base to lead this.
But the reality with that, Ped, is, and that's fine because the fans will do it, but is that really going to make any difference? We did it last time.
No.
Did it make any difference? In fact, you could argue it hampered it.
I think it makes a difference because it's. I mean, straight away you've got Henry Winter, one of the most respected journalists in the country, putting it out there. So I think that's important. Because,
it's massive. Yeah.
When people talk about fans marching or fans demonstrating or anything like that, you hear people going, well, what difference will it make? Well, what the difference it makes is it's a visual representation.
Sorry, John, could you get the towel? I spilt me. It's by the sink, Sammy. Yeah, sorry.
It's a visual representation of the feelings of the fan base.
No, it is.
And I've been on all those marches, and every time, no matter whether it was the first or the 10th one, at the top of the road, there's a load of journalists taking pictures. Sky are there. And it gets out. And obviously the first one led to the infamous headlock gate where the club had to respond.
Yeah.
The board never came back, and that shows that the marches work. We've seen the pink banners, we've seen the yellow banners, we've seen flags all around the ground.
And obviously the Super League stuff shows you the power of it. Yeah. But Forest would have to do it as well. I think if both clubs done it.
Well, Forest fans have to get off their arses now because they've been very quiet. But I think they need to get off their arses. If they feel 4 points is, they don't deserve it, then you've got to start joining the fight. Then I'm afraid, because it can't just be us in isolation. It can't just be. We've proven. I've had messages from Forest fans from the Sky Sports. Probably thinking I was going to throw them under the bus, but I've had support from them, backing me and saying, that, and we've been copied into stuff, and they obviously feel like they have got someone with them fighting it. So let's see you doing that when the games come.
Yeah.
We're
the same thing.
We're rivals on the pitch, but on this,
of course, yeah. But we're all football fans.
What we want a situation where whichever team stays up is because of football,
because of what they've done on the pitch.
If Forest stay up and they've stayed up because they've got one more point than us, and it's because of the 2 points they got back, then that'll be a disgrace. But that won't be Forest's fault as such.
No.
That'll be the Commission's fault. So, as fans, I think we have to do everything we can. But I honestly feel like the football clubs have to come out now. And whatever that leads towards the Premier, you'll get, we're not allowed to do that. It's in the handbook. Who cares? It's about your football club now. We're talking about people's jobs, people's livelihoods.
Well, if you're in a football club and you're worried about that, then I think the issue is you might not have a job if we go down. Yeah. So you want to fight for your job.
Yeah.
Because that's at the end of the day.
People at this football club have to start making some noise about this and getting angry. We'll let the fans do it. No. And I understand by letting certain things go within the ground, you are playing your part. But I do think the football club simply come out and back this statement, retweet it on your socials. Can't be done. Anything can be done. I refuse to take no for an answer. Anything can be done.
Can we? I mean, without dragging other teams into it, the Nottingham MPs obviously mentioned Manchester City. So how? Like, listen again. I'll reiterate it because I'll reiterate it with Manchester City and I'll reiterate it with Chelsea as well. I don't want to see them teams losing points. It's not, to me, that's not a way how you do it.
No.
I know it's not. I know. I've said before, well, transfer ban. That to me seems the most sensible. Well, it's not great, of course it isn't. But that to me seems the most sensible one because it does two things. It stops you spending money.
Yeah.
Which in turn helps you actually create a bit of money because you can't put it out the door. So therefore they are making your finances better. I know that some people, that won't be enough for some people. But City, by the amount of charges, let's take half of their charges off because they're probably nonsense, at least half of them. But if they had, say, more than 10 charges, right, I'm not going to speculate, but like more than 10 charges should be like, well, that's an 18-month transfer ban. And if you've got 20 charges, then that's a 2-year transfer ban. That's quite a lot for a club like Manchester City. Yes, they're fantastic. Yes, they've got the best coach. And yes, they've got a great squad. But if you can't freshen that squad up in 2 years, while Liverpool can and Manchester United can and whatever, then that's going to have an impact on it. I wanted the squad reduction, but I guess for clubs like City and Chelsea, there would have to be real nuance in it, where like 5 of your match day
I think squad reductions
it's hard, isn't it?
Well, it's tough because
hard for us, wouldn't it? But
someone like City could come out and say we're playing 4 tournaments a season. Reducing a squad would actually endanger some of our players.
But they've got under 21 players.
No, I know. I'm just saying that would be.
No, I get it.
That would be an argument that they could put forward. Yeah. But I was
just throwing like an alternative.
Transfer ban, I think, would definitely hamper anyone. And we've seen Chelsea get a transfer ban, obviously, with Frank Lampard's first season, and they still finished 4th. You know, but I think something like that. I just think we know points are just. They do more damage. They do.
You get twofold though, don't you? You get damaged on the fact that where you are in the league, and on top of that, you get damaged from a financial aspect. And for a club like, but sorry, just to go back because I'm going on to Manchester City for not. What I'm saying is, how are Chelsea and Manchester City able to just push this away, but Everton and Nottingham Forest had to be dealt with immediately? Like why? If Chelsea have already owned up, and you know Richard Masters was asked about it and said it's ongoing, the investigation. Well, okay, but they've already admitted to UEFA that they're guilty. They've admitted it, and there is now like something doing the rounds, and I don't know whether this is real or it isn't. But the Premier League have decided to let Chelsea off because it was a different regime. But that can't be right.
I seen something yesterday saying
is that nonsense.
I seen something yesterday saying it's ongoing and
right. Okay,
and Chelsea should be preparing themselves.
Okay, well, that's fine, right? But just to reiterate, I don't want Chelsea done with points and I wouldn't want City done with points, but a transfer ban for those clubs. A transfer ban for Chelsea, now people might go, they just signed £1 billion worth of players. What difference will it make? Well, clubs stand still from it. But what it would do is it would put the brakes on them being able to buy anyone else. It's not perfect, but I don't think anything's perfect. But I still maintain, for me, if you're a football club that's gone out and won points on a pitch and your fans are experiencing that, why should we be the ones who are damaged because some owner...
I'll say what I said yesterday. Forest getting those 2 points back is... The people who give those 2 points have no idea how valuable those 2 points are.
No.
They have zero idea how valuable they are. So get me 3 people in a room who understand the value. And that's what, when we went back in the commission and they were like, you understand 10 points is basically a tenth of all the points you can receive in a season. That's quite high. And then when they even averaged it out over what we did over the Premier League era, it was about a sixth of what we did. And you're like, suddenly maybe a light bulb went on. But you can't reiterate, if Nottingham Forest stay up by a point to us, or Luton.
Yeah,
and it's because of those 2 points. Those 2 points are worth £100 million.
Yeah.
That you can't factor that.
No.
You
can't get points.
Some person who just went, your email was great.
That's it.
You can't factor
and again,
that in.
To reiterate, this is not about Nottingham Forest.
No,
they didn't make the decision.
It's about the 3 people.
It's about the 3
and then the
people,
next 3 people, and then the next 3 people, and the next 3 people. And it's like, well, what did we get? Someone who had some kind of idea of football because he'd worked at a football club. But Forest didn't get anyone who'd work. I don't know. But they got three people who were just all.
Well, we had the first three we had were three people who'd been at a football club. Give us 10 points.
Yeah.
Because two of them had been at our rivals.
But they just didn't have a clue. They didn't have a clue.
Because Richard Masters asked for 12 and they were like, well, I can't give them 12, but we'll give them 10, mate. We'll give them what they did was going over by 19.5 million, worse than administration.
If you get caught, that make it dead easy. If you get caught for doing this, breaking it, it's a transfer ban, and then we add fines on. And if it's really bad, it's 2 years
transfer ban.
And if it's really, really bad, you get 3 years. Imagine you said to Manchester City, you've got a 3-year transfer ban.
That kills them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It kills them because players come out of contract, and I don't know how it works with new contracts. You can keep obviously by thinking, but that would kill City in a way. They'd still be brilliant, but if your competitors have got 6 transfer windows to catch you up, makes a huge difference where you're standing still.
Manchester United right now, 6 transfer windows. New everything at the club, new regime, new manager, new everything. And for get close.
Well, for a club like Everton and a club like Nottingham Forest, right? Say we got 2 years. It shouldn't because both of us have edged over it. But say we got a 2-year transfer ban, right? A year transfer ban would hamper Everton hugely, right? We get a year, say 12 months for argument's sake. We get a year transfer ban. So we can't buy anyone till August 25.
Destroy us.
Right? Jack Harrison will go back in the summer unless Everton signed him before they put it in, right? But in general, he would go back. Dan Zuma will go in the summer. Gomez, you'd have to think to be given a new contract just because he's a player, because we can't bring anyone in.
Bad money.
But there's more bad money because he's 30 and he doesn't get in. So all of a sudden you go, well, hang on. 2 wingers are gone. 2 foot, 2. So we're left with Dwight McNeil and Lewis Dobbin. And then you go, and we've got thingy. So we'll have to go again with the current squad, which we've all accepted isn't. Ashley Young could go because he's 411. Seamus would probably sign another one to stay. What we then have to do is you then start going, from our perspective, right, we've got to put Francis Onkaronko in there, Lewis Warrington in there.
My transfer ban is all the way. It's all the way to the embryos.
Oh, yeah, you can't bring anyone in.
You can't bring anyone. You can't bring 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds. You can't bring anybody new into your football club. And what that means is all that potential talent, once-in-a-lifetime player you've just spotted from in Brazil and Ecuador
could go to someone else.
Is not coming to Manchester City. They're going somewhere else. You've just missed out.
I mean, City have just got a 14-year-old who's not come till he's 18.
Yeah, but you've just missed out on a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent. Because of this, or whatever
so
it
you've
is.
got to get a grip of it. It's serious, and this is the thing. And I think that, to me, is a more powerful tool than
especially
going.
If Liverpool are knocking on some kid's door, and City are knocking on the kid's door as well, and City is suddenly told, no,
you can't. Yeah, then
Liverpool are getting that talent, or Man United are getting that talent. That's a double problem.
Yeah.
Or that player you wanted to buy suddenly is going to your rival. That's a double problem for them.
And
we saw that with Van Dijk. When they made the mess up with Van Dijk.
Well, at the other end of the scale, though, that's Forest and Everton. You haven't. It's real world problems. That you can't freshen that squad up. That needs freshening up. Then A, your manager has to earn his corn even more. And B, the other thing it would do. I said A and then B, but hey-o. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Let's be totally inaccurate, inconsistent. 1, it's saving you, like I've just said. Your finances are automatically going to improve because no money's going out the door, so you're going to be, they're heading you back on the right path to head, getting rid of that. And 2, from their perspective, I guess as well, is the opportunity for some kids who are in your 21s. You've got a chance to develop players then. Yeah. Now, okay, they mightn't be good enough, We Everton could have to have, if they were banned from buying anyone next year, then maybe Lewis Warrington would get a chance, and like I've just said, Onkaronko, maybe Roman Dixon, who's highly rated in the 21s, the right back, maybe he comes in, and you have to play through it. And you know what? In some respects, Everton might come out that other side going, all right, well, we've made a bit of money, but in a healthier place. We've got these 2 lads who we were never going to give a go to because we were unsure. I've had to play games and have developed. And what that also does is puts a price on their head then.
Yeah.
Because you might go at the end of that 12 months, we still think Nathan Patterson's better than Roman Dixon, or we still think that lad playing for Huddersfield is better than him. But other teams go, you know what, that Dixon looked all right when he played in the Premier League. We'll offer Everton 4 million for him. And you get more. So that way you are. Because I think the one thing that's got mixed up here, or sort of got the waters have been muddied here, is that why are the rules in place? They're not in place for sporting advantage. It says that in their handbook. They're nothing to do with sporting advantage. They are to keep your football club afloat, essentially, to keep it going as a going concern.
Yeah. Well, that's what the argument was, which our little friend from Sporting Talk got completely mixed up on when we were more than a game. At the moment, said this multiple times, and I think it needs addressing at a higher level. Someone like Gary Neville or whoever needs to talk about this. These rules are supposed to be in place for somebody because of what happened at Portsmouth. Yep. And yet every time you hear someone talk about them, it's if we took them away, Newcastle and Manchester City would run away. They'd just spend what they want. Mbappe would be going to Newcastle for £2 million a week and all this. We'd have a situation, Jack was talking about this yesterday, you'd have a situation like you had when the Saudi clubs came over here and cherry-picked, and the teams who got lucky. So Fulham, their centre-forward, they didn't want to sell him, but they got a lovely... So that's Fulham sound for PSR.
Yeah.
Wolves got one.
Got rescued.
We were unlucky that we did. Imagine if one of them liked Dominic Calvert-Lewin rather than Mitrovic, right?
Yeah.
That's us, safe from PSR. Dom goes, we get 70, 80, 90 million for him. He's on a great wage. We don't want to sell him, but how can we, if this is going to stop our PSR for 3 years by selling this player? It'd be the same with Newcastle, and it would be the same with, we'd all be like, come buy one, and it would totally disrupt football. And I think that's what we were saying, was that if you put the high cap on and say, City, we're not really going to stop you from spending money like you already have been in the last few years, but it can't get silly. So Newcastle would be able to spend money, but it couldn't get silly. You couldn't have players on £2 million a week, which would happen if a player was available. If an Mbappe was available, which he was, and Newcastle could spend what they want, they would have offered him £1 million a week. Guarantee it. Imagine Newcastle going, this is how we start the real new regime of Newcastle. We sign Mbappe and he's on £1 million a week and he's our franchise player for the next 5-6 years. And that's how we become one of the biggest clubs in the world. That's how we jump from being Newcastle mid-table Premier League team to one of the biggest hyped clubs in the world. You go and get an Mbappe. That's what you do. He's like, you see it in NBA all the time. Go and get the hot player and suddenly it takes your franchise team from being just a normal team to being jerseys all over the world because they all want Mbappe James on the back. Do you know what I mean? That's how they do it over there. That's the big thing in American sport. And that's why people follow players around. It's the franchise player. We saw it when Thingo left New England, Brady, and then he went down to Tampa in his last year and he ends up winning them the Super Bowl and stuff like that. It happens all the time, and that's how Newcastle would have done it. And that's what we were saying. Let's just get that cap right at the top, and everybody else then has a fair chance of getting where we want to go. And that might be Europe, that might be Champions League, Europa League, that might just be getting Crystal Palace from 12th to 10th. But that's got to be a better idea than saying to every team outside the top six, do you know, even if you do well this season, you're probably going to have to sell one of your best players. Sorry, Villa, you're going to have to sell Ollie Watkins. Sorry, Newcastle, you're going to have to sell Bruno Guimaraes. You know, this is what we were saying, and yet you get all these clever people. Too clever for us, John. Too clever for us, these people, by the way. They're too clever for us. And he said, no, because these are the rules. The rules are wrong. The rules are wrong, mate. And you're wearing heels. I don't understand it. How small are you?
Ryan Griffiths, I'll just address this because you do sound like you want me to address it because you've put 46 comments in. About, I hope Baz gets his wish and City don't get points deducted. Because, where is it?
Because what?
Baz don't want that because that means Liverpool. I don't want City getting points deducted, the same as I don't want Chelsea getting points deducted, the same as I don't want Forest getting points deducted. Reading, Derby, Everton, whoever. Now, I don't know how many times you want me to say it. I wouldn't want Liverpool getting points deducted. So you don't know me and I don't know you, right?
Unless
go and do whatever you want.
They do something wrong on the pitch.
Yeah, if you're fielding an eligible player, well, that's happened, doesn't it, with Liverpool? But if you're fielding an eligible player, they got away with it, yeah. And he goes on and plays the game. That's in the rules. Then fair enough, take a couple of points off them for doing that, whatever. For these, there's nothing in place. What we're saying is put stuff in place. I don't think I can be more consistent with that, mate. That's my opinion. Now, you might, because you're obviously a Liverpool fan, who obviously, you know, City have had your number every single year, bar one. You're fuming with them, right? And that's fine, because I'd probably be the same. But don't twist that into something else, because it isn't. I am being really consistent, whether it was Spurs, Arsenal, Fulham. No points. Yeah. No points. Glenn, no, wouldn't like points deducted for Plymouth Argyle, unless they've done something wrong on the pitch, therefore. So that's where I stand, and I'm not going to make me point anymore. It's just there. Right?
It's quite consistent.
Everton, and Ryan also says Everton need to go after Chelsea and City. The league has been distorted ever since this money has been added. No, but this is what we're saying. No one's gonna. You can't get that money out the league. Yeah. Can you?
Genie's out the bottle, isn't it?
It's gone. So
how you control the money.
So what do you do?
The genie's out the bottle. See, what keeps on coming back to me about this is this idea that clubs like us and maybe Forest, we're not allowed another go. We've had our money, we spent it.
Yeah.
But what City did was, City made an absolute balls up of it the first time and got another go. And the second goal, they went, we know how to do this now.
They had two goals, yeah.
New owners. Let's get the best infrastructure in. And then we'll get the best manager in the world. And they've done that. And look at everything now. I mean, even look at the stuff off the pitch. The new arena that's getting built on Manchester's ground. I've just seen a thing last week. I read a piece about it saying all the buildings are getting solar panelled. They're going to be self-sufficient. Everything at Man City's campus will be they'll be off the grid.
And you will when you've got money.
I'm just saying all these things that they can do now, that Man City can do. They've got clubs all around the world. The genie's out the bottle. So what we've got to do is have a system where, because all we're saying is, if we allow this to keep happening, you're going to have 6 teams up here and everyone else down here, and the league will be contested by basically those 6 teams playing each other and the goal difference they can create by beating everybody else. The Premier League's supposed to be, the reason for Premier League's supposed to be the best league in the world is that everyone can beat everyone on the day. And we're watching Sheffield United getting battered every week at home. And Luton, everyone's like, oh, look at plucky Luton. But they do lose quite a lot of games, even though they run people a bit closer. If the rules are simply there to say, if we've got rules that say you can't compete, and if you do compete, you'll hit a wall, an invisible wall, then what's the point? You have to sell one of your players the minute you get really close to them. You've done really well, lads. You've done really, really well. But sorry, we're going to have to take Ollie Watkins off you, Villa, because you're doing too well. But just keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure you'll find another Ollie Watkins.
And you can have another go in a few years.
It's just a joke. Whereas, let everyone have a go on their own way. We make the league better. We're still attracting the best players to the league, because actually our ceiling that we're talking about is still much higher than Italy, much higher than Spain. I mean, look at obviously Real Madrid have had to go through a couple of years of like what they'd call pain with the burnout. Barca are doing it now, and even when Barca get that stadium built, it's still going to take maybe 2 or 3 years to make them competitive. And who knows if they ever will get competitive again. That might have just been a complete fluke because of Pep Guardiola. Let's be honest, the Barcelona era was because of Pep.
Yeah, no, it was the domination. Yeah,
that's where the domination come from.
And Messi.
Yeah, and Messi. And obviously Messi more than anything. Paris Saint-Germain are out the equation now, really, in terms of being a Galactico kind of spending thing. Germany, they've got their principles, so they'll never ever, but they're fine with that, and I'd love to be like them as a league. So the Premier League's going to be fine, but it ain't going to be fine if we allow Man City and Liverpool and Newcastle and Man United or whoever to just keep going and going away from the rest of us. You have to be competitive. And also, if you are allowed to be competitive, I believe that will attract more owners to the league as well. Because right now, why would you buy a football club in the Premier League if you can see straight away your hands are tied? Why would you bother? I've got all this money, can't do nothing with it. Can't do nothing with it. What's the point? I want to be the best. Billionaires, like, I want to be the best. It can't be with these rules.
It is crazy, isn't it? And that's what we're saying. The whole thing is that you want everyone to have, as a football fan, or certainly my view of being a football fan, is you should have hope. Now, it is crazy that, well, it isn't crazy, it's tribalism. So the clubs who are considered the big six, the richest six, as in from bringing money in, their fans don't want anyone in. Yeah, but they don't. But their fans don't want anyone breaking in. So Liverpool fan like Ryan he'll be having a go at City because he's devastated Liverpool haven't been more successful. But he doesn't want Newcastle pushing in, and Tottenham wouldn't want Newcastle pushing in, and they don't want Villa in there and things like that because you are in that party. So everyone else is just crying, moaning, divvies, go away, go away, go away, and that's what you have with the tribalism.
But we've been brainwashed into it in this country because, like I mentioned, Germany. Yeah, German fans will protest on behalf of other football clubs.
Other fans, yeah.
You know, and when the likes of a Leipzig comes along or a Hoffenheim, they won't. They won't have that, and they won't back them clubs. No. And they won't back their fans, but they'll back each other's clubs if the right thing. So you'll see fans of some clubs having a go at owners of other clubs. Of course, they will. You know, we've seen recently where they done demonstrations to stop this new money coming into the league because they knew that it could turn them into a Premier League thing. Money,
they don't want it, do they?
Ticket prices would go up.
Yeah.
And as far as German fans are concerned, they go and watch good footy. It's and by the way, this is a league where Bayern Munich still win most of the time. But they go to the game, the tickets are cheap, they get to drink in their seats, the atmospheres are brilliant.
They have a good time.
It's still their game. They have a good time. And it's not money. It's about going to match and enjoying something. It's about the community of football. We in this country would stand on each other's heads to get to above the next person. We will laugh and point fingers when someone raises ticket price issues, or when people are like, you know, if you're trying to do something to sell tickets or whatever it is, or you're complaining about the trains, or you're complaining about kickoff times, or you're complaining about Monday Night Football. Instead of getting together, we just point and laugh. I mean, you were on a show where a Chelsea fan told a Liverpool fan when they complained about the trains for a cup final, why can't you just get an Uber from Liverpool to London? Why can't you just get an Uber? That's what the Chelsea fan said. This is instead of going, right, we back you on this, and if we all get together. And the only time we've really done it is when for the away tickets, when people stood with each other. And we've said before, the Super League proved that if all fans get together and have a common goal, it can still be our game. But we're acting like bad melts in this situation, and we're going, that's your problem. Yeah, but it becomes your problem the year after if it's a cup final. It becomes your problem. You know, it's another reason why I think they should take cup finals away from them. Put the cup finals up north for a few years, and let's start listening to the Arsenal fans and the Tottenham fans.
Cancel trains back to
and
London.
Let's start here and
5
then.
o'clock.
So Man United, you build your stadium. You say to the FA, you can have this for nothing if you want for cup finals, and let's see what happens when they have to start travelling up here. They'll soon come to us and go, yeah, we need to sort this out. There's that division, and we've seen it recently with the tragedy chanting and all that. It's what are we doing? How does chanting about tragedy and chanting about being poor and sign on and all this? What's going on? You know, we're all football fans, and we all go through the same nonsense, and no one stands up. Oh, we've got to play so and so at 12:30 on a Sunday on a Saturday morning. Newcastle fans going to ball. Well, let's do something about it then. Let's do something about it. Monday Night Footy, it's crap. No one likes it.
Yeah,
Let's do something about it then.
Germany did. They got rid of it.
They got rid of it. Let's do something about it. Let's go to the TV companies and say, en masse, and go, we're not going to go anymore to these Monday night games. Move it to the Friday. We want Friday night games, not Monday night games. And let's have it that way. Instead of just, that's your problem to deal with. It's absolutely...
You can't get over it. This is the problem, and we've seen it today in the comments, haven't we? People can't get over themselves, that they grieve, they want to have a pop, people put words in your mouth. It's embarrassing from them because they can't open their eyes to everything that's going on. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's gone like that. It's sad, really, because it's all about, it's our game, and it's been taken away from us. And Richard Masters can trot out lines like, if football's it's nothing without the fans, and yet they're doing nothing to help the fans. So Andy Goff says on the super chat, thanks Andy, says as always a great discussion with facts and common sense, even Ped with a smiley face. Hit the like and subscribe. Let's have a look. Is there any? Bob says Forest defensive 40 odd players could be a cogent narrative, as Luton didn't need to add, and they're not as rich as Forest. Well, I don't know. They've done it one way. Luton have done that model all the way through, though. It's been their owner doesn't spend more than 60%, I think, on the playing side of it, and they've done brilliant. They've got out the National League. So Kim says Spurs didn't buy a player for 18 months, always sold our best players until revenue could support it. They also had Harry Kane, who was unbelievable and got 20 goals every year, but I see your point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simon says level playing field, give us a salary cap and let's play football. Stephen says, Baz, can someone explain to me how Everton got a 10-point deduction, now 6 out of Forest only get 4?
No,
well, the 10 points was cobbled together, wasn't it? And I think how we ended up at 6 was they scrapped the 10 and started again, and it ended up being 6 points. Forest, they've done something different. Few people saying if Everton would have gone second, they'd have got less. Well, they would have, wouldn't they? Because Forest would have been the third, we'd have probably got a less, but that can't work either.
Making the process even more silly.
Well, it is. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So there's FAB are right and Forest MPs are right. It needs scrapping until you go, this does this, this does this, this does this. John Blaine come up with the best one anyway in terms of that, is that for every 5 million you go over, you lose a point. If you need to put points in, that makes sense then. So you look and go, crap, we're over by 50 million. We've lost 10 points. So whatever, at least you'd know. But I think we both still think it shouldn't be points, it should be transfer bans. That's the thing. Transfer ban seems to be the thing where you go, that would hamper you. And Ryan, just for you, if City get a transfer ban for 3 or 4 years because their charges are huge, Liverpool could just leave them behind, couldn't they? Because Liverpool buy quite well. Same for every football club. Josh says, hey guys, when will it get back to just going to watch a game of footy? Hopefully a win and see some good players. Seems a million miles away as far as Everton are concerned. It does. Dan says, hi guys, still not on the takeover. Read on Monday it was imminent. Today's Thursday. I guess it's after our hearing then. Could be any time now, mate. Couldn't it? Martin says 3 different results on the points deductions is a complete joke, like changing to 4 points for a win in the league 1 week, then making it 2 the week after. Also, do these stands from other club not remember us protesting against our own board for being run poorly? Yeah, I remember that when people weren't happy with it. Not so purple. Aki says, do you lads think if we went down by 2 points it would begin a spiral of messy court cases? I think so. I think it's open to that. You can go, oh, couldn't happen. I think it would. Think if Everton or Luton go down by 2 points, they would be going after the Premier League big time for giving points back for just sending a boss email. Evan Viking says the entire system isn't fair and points deduction is ridiculous in the first place. The Premier League determined not to look weak, which is ironic because they've never looked weaker. Correct. Gavin says, totally agree, we should have had the statements on Monday, just shows there's no one at the wheel. Kev says, all this is making me ill with worry and sleepless nights. As the Premier League said, you can't punish the fans. What an absolute crock of crap. Feels like I'm being punished. Just want to enjoy football again for what goes on and off the pitch. The only thing getting me through this is you guys on Apple TV. Thanks, Ped, for recommending All Mankind. What a show. Nice one, Kev. Hope you're well, mate. Mathew Barrett, hello, Matt, says, afternoon, lads. Hope you're both well. Hopefully by the end of the month, we'll know what's what with hearings and have new owners. We can all fully concentrate on getting the team over the line again. Look forward to our last season at Goodison in the summer. The current rules are anti-competitive and almost a restriction of trade. They have to change to give everyone an equal opportunity. Peter Beryl says, this is all to do with money. And what I mean is, pre-COVID, we were still a big 6-7 club. Jump forward to COVID and lockdown, the so-called Six signed up to a Super League, which would have given them over 3.5 billion. And then because of the murder over it, they backed off, had a secret agreement with Masters and Co., which concluded with Masters and Co. ended up with them paying a fine. And there's no evidence they paid the fine, by the way, according to some people. That's when the tide turned, and in my opinion, they decided that because they lost out on billions, they wanted compensation, therefore crushing the competition, changing the rules, and taking out the clubs that kicked off over it so they can keep winning and bringing in the revenue. Remember, these are ruthless businessmen and didn't make their money by being nice to the competition. Peter, I don't know. You might be right, you might be wrong. I've no idea, mate. It does seem like there has been a sea change since, certainly against Everton, since they kicked off over it. I don't know whether that's true or not. It just feels that way. Stan says, all right, lads, you're so right about fans. If we could put tribalism to one side for 5 effing minutes, we could actually get our games of football back. Look at the kick-off over the Super League fiasco. Fan-led revolt, and people listened. They did, mate, but while you've got people pointing fingers and laughing and going, yous have cheated, I mean, which is the most hilarious, uneducated thing to say, then I don't know. What we're saying is, for us, you might, listen, people watching, people like Ryan, who's a Liverpool fan, might think points deductions are the way to go. I don't know. I don't think they are. Transfer bans, so you hamper people moving forward because they've broken a set of rules that should be in black and white, by the way, then that is fine, I think. And if you struggle, Everton would struggle with the transfer ban. And here I am saying Everton should get a transfer ban.
Next season.
What would we do next year, really? I've just gone through it. We'd have to make a decision on monetary things. So we could get an offer for 90 million for Jared Brandwaite. And Everton might go, we can't take it. Sorry, Jared. You've got to stay because we're so weak. We would have to bring three or four players in from the under-21s to make the squad bigger. Now, okay, you might argue someone like Stanley Mills, who hasn't had a go yet but has played league football, would then be given a go. But that's up to him then. But then that would really test whether it's Sean Dyche or whether, so Sean Dyche and his coaching staff would have to go, right, we have got our work cut out here because we can't bring anyone in and we're going to have to integrate these younger lads. Yeah. It'd make it a real battle for Everton next year, a real struggle. And we're saying that. And Forest might coach slightly better because they brought so many in, but even for them, they haven't done very well with what they've got so far, have they? So what's to say they'll do better next summer if they can't freshen that up as well? Nothing. So that's what we're saying. In terms also of how you would help, and this is the final thing I'm going to say, how you would help the Premier League as a whole in terms of trying to make it a bit of a fairer playing field. Is like I think we could go with you can spend as much as the top club, but maybe a medium would be better than that. So maybe if say it's Man City, for argument's sake, they can spend 400. I don't know whether they could, but say they could spend 400 million. They might do an average thing and go, right, everyone can spend 250 million in the summer. As long as your owners can back it, you can spend 250 million each year, say, for argument's sake. So that means City can't spend much more than Liverpool. They can spend the same. Newcastle can then go after that 250 million if they can prove it. Villa, it means teams like Leeds United, if they get promoted, could spend 250 million. everyone would be given the same opportunity. But Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal have already got a run on everybody, and Spurs. So really, you would be hampering them a bit. But Liverpool don't really spend 250 million a summer anyway, do they? Really. But so you're not really stopping Liverpool what they're doing. City don't probably spend that, but other clubs who are trying to run to catch them up a little bit would at least have the hope. It mightn't work, as in Villa might go, yeah, we're going to spend 250 million this year. They mightn't spend it well, and it mightn't catch up. Liverpool keep ticking, City keep ticking, Arsenal keep ticking. That might be a way to balance the league a bit. What it would do, right? What it would do is that it would say to everybody, you have got that dream. You can dream that if your clubs run right or you get a new owner, you can try to catch up a little bit quicker. It's not ideal because there's nothing ideal, but that's what we're saying. I don't have the answers. This is just me as a fan going, yeah, if Everton were in the top 6, my view might be different. If Everton were locked in that top 6, top 4, I might be going, oh, well, we just all get on with it. But I'd like to think I wouldn't, because I'd like to think, well, to keep the game open, everyone has to have the same dream. You can't, it doesn't mean you're able to implement it, does it? Because Manchester United are one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest club in the world. They've not won the Premier League for, this is 11 years now, isn't it? So they've not been able to implement it, but they've had the opportunity to. So that's all I want. I just think we should all have the same dreams, that even if we haven't got money in our club now, we might get a consortium who come in with some money, and Everton could be, like for Evertonians, we might be able to build a team that can challenge. Going at the moment, we'd have to get everything perfect for a few years. Perfect with signings, perfect results. Be able to keep hold of Jared Brantwaite. Be able to keep hold of Onana, say, and then say we got a Ollie Watkins in. Be able to keep hold of him. I'm not saying we get him for Villa. I mean a Ollie Watkins type striker who's banging goals in. Right now, if we got that player in, one of the bigger clubs would just come and go, we want him. And our PSR would go, we probably have to sell him. Yeah. But then, you know what though, Ped? We can then put that money back in and maybe get it. And it's so difficult. It's just a competition. And I just like the hope that it is fairer. Even if really it probably isn't, but I'd like to believe that there's an opportunity.
That's hope, isn't it? As any fan of any club, it's that hope. It's that one day of seeing something, just not wanting to miss out on something, just to be there. Yeah. Whether it's whatever game it is, it's what keeps you going back, isn't it? Otherwise, why would you bother? Why would you bother keep going to something that is just becoming repetitively more the same all the time? We got Man City at home. I won't bother with that one. Know what's going to happen. Yeah, but what if we did?
Shouldn't be like that.
What if we did beat them though, and you weren't there to experience it? What keeps the away fans going, isn't it?
Yeah,
is that idea of like you win 3 away games all season, or people being going to Anfield for years. The only one. What if I miss the one that we do actually turn up for? That's
and
what
it goes
keeps
that way.
That's what keeps people going. Of course, that little bit of hope. But if you just keep on chipping away at that hope, honestly, you're not going to have
sanitised then, isn't it?
All you're going to have is you're going to have corporate football, and this is where I think we've heard different things about this week. And I've retweeted a post by a City fan. It's on my Twitter there, just saying the price is going up every year, and it's just like I can't do this anymore. Can't keep paying. We've got Man City. We've got all this money, and you want more of us. We've got all this money,
and this is football, mate.
Yeah, it's like but someone will pay it. But it's like you don't want us, people who've been with us since the beginning. And that's the problem. It's
Everton will do the same. Everton will squeeze Evertonians until people can't afford to go. I mean, people are at that point now. People can't afford to go. And yet you get no value from it. So after a bit, you will just go, nah, I'm done. What's the point? I go. We and in an ideal where we finish 12th. But, as long as the club can get more money to give to players who aren't good enough, as long as their wages go up and the club don't address that, the extra 3 million they make from the fans.
But for clubs like us, though, we won't have that, though. A City can have that luxury.
Oh, City can.
City can have that luxury of keep putting the prices up. A club like Everton can't.
It will do it, though.
But it can't, though, because the real fans will. I've said it before, the hook is there for the new stadium.
Yeah,
Give it 2 or 3 seasons.
Couple of years.
If we're not winning games, if things haven't changed, people will go, what's the I can't afford that, and I'm not going to watch this. At the moment, people would give up there's 2 things driving the fan base at the moment: the last season at Goodison and the first season at the new stadium. And beyond that, what is there for a lot of people who just simply can't afford to go?
And there's no hope. And once you take the hope, because the
away.
league's put one way, and if you keep reducing the quality on the pitch, which we've seen, it becomes, what's the point?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's dangerous for football, I think.
It is dangerous for all football.
I'm going to give Ryan the last word because he has come back, so fair play. He says, I don't want points deductions, but if Everton got one, you have to demand City and Chelsea get one. That's my point.
No, but we're bigger people than that, though.
I think, right, what I would say...
but we're bigger than that. We're not demanding it.
What I would say is, if that ends and Everton do get a points deduction, I would understand people going, I'm going Everton and Forest got them, so why aren't City and Chelsea getting them? I don't like the solution of points deductions. That's where we're standing from.
Don't make it right.
But maybe that's what would happen. I haven't got a clue.
Don't make it right.
Yerry Mina says, is right, Baz, perfect solution. That thing of the meme, which is what we've been saying all week, haven't we? Right, we're live on More Than a Game in 4 minutes. John will be on it in 4 minutes' time. Oh, why, John?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Testing the fire alarm.
Fire alarms are getting tested, apparently, right?
We're going to set fire to Ned.
Okay.
To test them.
We'll be on at some stage. I can't give you any more. When are they doing it? Straight away. Maybe about 2:30. Look out for it. I apologise. Fire alarms in the building are getting tested. Thanks for everyone for watching. Hit the like, subscribe if you haven't. See you in a bit. Take care. Bye.